Hi, my name is Lee, and I'm a member at our Youth Advisory Council here at Tanner Steffler Foundation.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I'm a member of the Youth Advisory Council with the Tanner Steffler Foundation.
We just want to say a special thank you to all the participants and their dedication towards ending the stigma around mental illness and addiction within our communities. We just want to put out a warning. This video includes content that some might find physically, emotionally, or mentally triggering. Some topics our participants discuss are
anxiety, depression, LGBTQ2+.
Racism, eating disorders, and more.
Please care for yourself and watch with caution. If you are in crisis, please contact the Huron and Perth Crisis Line at 1-888-829-7484.
The Kids Help Phone at 1-800-668-6868.
As well, if you're not in crisis but you're looking for somebody to talk to, the Tanner Steffler Foundation's non-crisis line is open at 1-519-604-4673.
Hi, and welcome to our very first episode of our docu-series. We are here to continue the conversation around stigmatized topics and experiences in Huron and Perth Counties. My name's Nikki at the Tanner Steffler Foundation, and we're here to talk about anxiety. If you just want to start by explaining your own experiences with anxiety and kind of how it affects your daily life.
So basically I'll have a thought come in and sometimes it doesn't leave, it just comes in again and again and again on a loop. And I feel like I have to kind of pay attention to that thought. I can't move on throughout my day until that thought's gone.
I feel
it's
that.
It's kind of like the end of the world if I don't figure out what my mind's telling me. So that's kind of anxiety for me.
So my experience with anxiety, I think, started when I was really little, and it would just be little things that soon added up as I got older into even bigger, more traumatic experiences, which impacted my life daily in every way, like things like panic attacks and getting really emotional would just kind of pop up out of nowhere, which would give me a lot of embarrassment, but also anxiety that I was gonna put on a show for everybody.
Yeah, I was like anxious about being anxious.
Yeah, I think it really took my genuine happiness, because even when I felt happy, I was feeling guilty, like I was gonna be punished with like some anxiety that was gonna be 2 times worse, and that, I don't know, I couldn't feel a sense of relief without feeling guilty or anxious that something was gonna happen.
For me, when I have anxiety, I tend to have seizures.
That's scary. And like this can happen like anytime.
Yeah, whenever I just get a little stressed out or anything.
How do you deal with that?
For me, just having like friends and family who understand and will be there for me if I need them.
Did you find like talking to people about it is hard?
I find now that I've talked about it more and I know it's okay to have anxiety, that it's okay for anyone to talk about it.
Yeah, and I feel like you have a really unique situation where like it really affects you physically. Yeah. And like people can probably see that. Does that bug you?
I feel like since I'm more used to it and able to like explain my side of it, like understanding it's a scary thing for people. It's scary for people to see and stuff.
Well, it's probably scary for you too.
Well, I guess a bit.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I just had to realize that like it's not my fault that any of this is happening, and it's out of my control, any of this. And that if people want to say stuff about it just because they don't understand it, that's totally okay, because that's their way of coping with it.
Right. Yeah. But at the beginning, you were like struggling with it.
I didn't want to talk about it at all.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I feel like it's such like a close thing. Like you're not supposed to have anxiety or anything.
Well, I started to struggle a lot with anxiety at the start of this school year. I wasn't really nervous to get into high school, but then once you get into the older grades, your workload becomes harder and your friendships kind of fade away and you lose a lot of relationships and stuff and gain new ones. So I started to get super anxious and have panic attacks.
What are things that you do to cope with your anxiety? Or like if you feel you're getting anxious, do you have any like kind of coping mechanisms that you use to like bring yourself back?
I love journaling. I write any situation down. 1, I like looking at how far I've come after I read it, and 2, I feel like once it's out, and it lets me like cry, and like I'll spend like hours on journaling, and I have a whole bunch of different journals. But one thing that didn't really work for me was like talking to people, but like going in depth talking to people. Like I like to keep that to myself still, but I also like educating people on.
I think that's interesting. That's not something like you hear often. Like in a lot of, like people are like, talk about it. And for you, it's different. You're like, talk about it, but not too much.
No.
Which I think that's really normal actually. And I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way.
Like I think when people talk about it, they obviously leave things out like that they don't want to disappoint other people with and stuff, which obviously we're trying to break that, but it's still reality. Yeah.
And for like anybody out there who thinks the same thing, like, thanks for sharing that, because I think that's not something people really open up about.
I need to make a list. I need to have everything organized 110%, which helps because then I know like, okay, I don't need to worry about this right now. It's not on my priority list. I also learned I need to have a set day, like an appointment worry day. So that if I start to get anxiety, I have to tell it like, no, like we're not gonna worry about you right now. We have to wait until my scheduled
6 p.m.
And I have 20 minutes, and that's when I can think about you. And then I just gotta let it go for now.
Interesting.
And then so that really helps. I also do a lot of breathing, a lot of talking. I feel like talking helps me get it out. And exercising is good, but I think it can also turn me into a whole new world of like body dysmorphia. And am I not exercising enough? Am I exercising too much? Like, and not knowing what to do. Like it gives me more anxiety.
Talking about it, I would say for me is a big one. Just being able to talk about my feelings or what is going on with me at that time.
I would say the thing that really helped me off the bat though was therapy. Going through therapy, learning a lot of like techniques, like CBT therapy and meditation, mindfulness and journaling. Those are all kind of like staples I use throughout the day.
What was finding therapy like in Huron and Perth?
My personal experience was easy because I had a pretty easy access to it. My mom's a teacher, so she actually referred a therapist to me. But I would say my first ever therapy call was a little terrifying because it was a weird feeling. It felt like it was very foreign because I wasn't used to talking out about my mental health, and especially to someone I didn't know.
One day in the car, I like just broke down on the way to school with my dad. So he like told me that he knew that one of my old counselors was coming back to be a school counselor at school. So he messaged her and like told her like as much as he knew, and she got me in. And then we started on the road to like get myself better and like find what works for me and how I can help other people too through it, because I'm like a big floater and I like to be friends with everyone. So like I also want to tell people and be open about it.
I started with my school counselor because I didn't want to tell my parents or anything. I didn't want to tell anybody else. And then eventually when summer came and she couldn't help me throughout the summer months, she had to contact other people. She referred me to a psychiatrist who diagnosed me with 2 different kinds of anxiety. And then from there, I got on meds and found a more permanent kind of therapy. So I'm doing cognitive behavioral therapy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Do you like it? Is it working?
I do like it.
Good.
It's hard because there's a lot of wait lists and a lot of, so like I can only see her like once a month because of how long the waits are, but when I do see her, it's good.
What about like stigma? Do you think stigma like kind of prevented you from getting to that point of being okay with talking about it?
It was a huge part to it because I didn't want to have it. I didn't want to worry about having it, and I didn't know if other people were going through it because it wasn't talked about and it wasn't made a conversation. So I didn't know if it was just me dealing with it or if other people deal with this.
Like as a guy, you're kind of like, it's almost like you're preconditioned to feel like you're soft, or it's like a weak thing to do as a man, to like express your emotions. I have a bunch of friends up at school and we're very open. We talk about our emotions and like what's bothering us during the day. But back here, there was a few friends before me that like opened up about it. And that really hit me deep because I was like, if they can do it, so can I. I think it's just the most important thing to do in a friend group is just come together and just support each other through those hard emotions and experiences. And then now I think that's just made us closer. So like that kind of played like a little bit of a part, but my parents have done a fantastic job of just, I guess, raising me in an environment that it didn't feel like
Yeah, normalizing it.
normalizing it and just allowing me to express how I'm feeling and what's bothering me. So
I think that because we kind of shut it down so much and we see it as like a weakness or not as important in the grand scheme of things, but I don't think it's fair to dumb down your feelings and what's going on, because just like a physical illness, it's important and it needs to be taken care of. And I think that it was just really unknown for a lot of people, because I feel like people go through the same thing, but stigma has made them think that it's a bad thing to feel that way, so they say, no, I don't have this issue.
Yeah, or it's like stigma
Yeah.
makes it feel like it's not normal.
Yeah, so they
When
like,
really there's so many
yeah.
people
so
that.
they turn a cold shoulder to it instead of
Yeah.
being like, oh, I actually do feel this way.
Yeah. What can the school systems like in here on Perth do for people who are struggling? What could they do better?
They can make themselves like more available. They put it on announcements that you can reach out, but they never like tell you like where or how to reach out. They just tell you that they're available and
Right.
when they're available. And maybe like having the mental health people come into all of the classes and like introduce themselves, like make it more of a welcoming place instead of like go visit the stranger in her office.
Right.
You have no idea who she is and you're gonna have to tell her all of your struggles and why you're upset. And maybe like more staff, like we don't even have the room space for our 2 mental health counselors right now.
Right.
So I feel like if they just like make like a little section of the school just for like people to go to take a break, like even could be in the library or like near, that would be helpful.
honestly, like having like assemblies and like gathering a group of like kids are very, it can be a very powerful thing. And like also like my therapist, he goes around in classrooms, like I think he goes like once a week to like a different
Cool.
school, and I think just like teaching kids different techniques. It's kind of like with anxiety, like everyone deals with anxiety or everyone has anxiety like in a different way. So I think we have to kind of pick the brain of like each student and ask them, hey, how are you, like what's your anxiety like? And then
Yeah,
proceed-
what's it look like for you?
What's it look
Yeah.
like for you? Because it's not the same for everybody.
No.
So I think like, and then also having teachers trained on how to deal with students who have anxiety
Yeah.
and themselves. I mean, like there's so many solutions.
I'm very thankful for my school principal. Actually, she is very like will take me in, because some teachers are like they don't understand, so she has to be the one to be like, no, actually she's gonna come take a break. So I'm really thankful for her. She's the one that kind of pushed me to get into counseling. High school and school in general is a big time in so many teenagers' lives, and it's a big
Yeah.
time where they gain these mental illnesses or realize they have a mental
Yep.
illness, but also thoughts of like the future, what's going on in the present.
It's stressful.
trends. There's so much going on. I feel like schools, and you live at the school basically, like that's like your
Yeah, you're there every day. Yeah.
And so I think if they implemented a safe space as well within the school, and a lot of kids fear their parents too, so I think
Yep.
if they could do that without their parents and just be able to go there and calm down, I think it would educate a lot of kids and make a lot of kids feel better with
Yeah.
school.
Do you have any advice for anyone experiencing anxiety or any mental health issues? What's something that you would tell them?
Realize that like what you're experiencing, like whether it's anxiety, depression, or whatever that is, or what thoughts, like sensations are bothering you, just like notice that they're there and just allow yourself to feel them. I think oftentimes we're so hard on ourselves for feeling a certain way or like having thoughts. And I think we just need to be easy on ourselves and just allow ourselves, you know, I guess if we bring up, you know, being a guy in the conversation, it's kind of like, or just anyone in general, we're used to kind of bottling our emotions up. So just kind of like taking a deep breath and just
Yeah, letting them be
letting
there.
yourself, like letting them go, just experiencing
Yeah.
that. And then after that, I would say, I guess, reaching out in the way you feel the most comfortable with.
No matter if you think you're at your lowest lows, like something that you can always look forward to is like reminding yourself like what you're grateful for and like stuff like that. But also like it does get better, and time is everything. And like as long as you want to get better, there's no time limit on it. Like if you want to get better, it will take you however long you need.
Thanks for chatting.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.